Howdy, lieutenants and economists.
The most volatile, evil, disgusting things on the planet, humans. If you have a video request, you can always go to assholeconsulting.com.
Yeah, I am gonna charge you, kids. And that is the importance of not fucking up.
You are such an asshole!
My God, we actually have time for an original. Can you imagine that? Cappy's got time. All right, boys, girls, young people, listen to me. Millennials, gone. They're gone. They bought the funny farms. Too late to save them. We're focusing on Gen Z now because something can be done to save you. And what is unfortunate about Gen Z is there is no clear break or delineation between the Millennials and Gen Z. It's just a continuation. Now we got to come up with a new thing. Oh, okay, it's Gen Z or whatever. And just as there's no clear demographical break between the Millennials and Gen Z, there has neither been a change in your environment as to how you've been raised, how you've been brought up, and the information and advice you've been getting. Now, the company I run, called Asshole Consulting, if you've never heard of it before, I get questions from a lot of young people who are lost, who really don't want to do X, but their parents are forcing them to do Y, and they're confused and conflicted, and thank God you guys do contact me because your parents are my generation, Gen X, and my generation doesn't know shit. It's one of the main problems. The main lessons I need to convey to Gen Z that keeps coming up in my consulting, and once it's coincidence, or no, once it's a statistic, twice it's coincidence, 3 times it's a trend. Now we're on 7 or 8 times now. You really have to stop listening to your parents. Okay? Look at the millennial generation. And then ask yourself one question. Did they do what their parents and teachers and elders told them? And the answer is, yes, they did. They went to college. They took on a student loan. You can't put a price on education. These tired tropes that I thought would have died a decade ago are just as prevalent and as strong and being beaten down and shoved down your throats as always. Oh, you have to be an environmentalist. Everybody's a feminist. All this stuff that they've been doing. Girls should like you for you. You don't have to hit the gym. Girls like a sensitive guy. You got to get in touch with your feelings. And girls, you're guys. You're guys. You're no different than guys. Gender is a social construct. All this crap they followed and swallowed whole, and now the results. Look at the millennials. Look at them. Student loan debts at 30, living at home at 30, a complete and utter failure. Now, they didn't form in a vacuum. They did not form just out in the desert. Hey, we decided to be the fucked up, completely wasted generation. We decided to be a wasted crop. They were sent down that path by the guidance or lack of guidance of their parents. And what I'm trying to do now, because I'm getting these questions the same, and they're no different than they were 5-10 years ago, is to get you to realize that the source of their problems, the genesis, the seed, where it all started, was horrifically bad advice their parents gave them. And forgivably so, understandably so, when you're a little kid, who are you going to believe? You're going to believe your parents. Right? So what I'm getting now at Asshole Consulting is a bunch of young kids, Gen Z. I really don't want to go to college. I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do it. But my parents say to do this. I say, okay, 20, 30 years ago, you could look at it and say, well, God, you better listen to your parents. Now that we have a guinea pig called the millennial generation that did what their parents are telling them to do, which is the exact same advice they're giving you guys today, except now tuition's just like 15% more expensive. We can honestly say, yeah, we know they're your parents. Yes, your parents probably do love you. Yes, your parents probably have the best intentions for you, but your parents, just like the millennials' parents were, are fucking morons and don't know what they're talking about. I'm not saying don't disrespect your mother and your father. I'm not saying they don't have some advice. But by God, if it's my generation now passing on the advice, trust you me, kid, they don't know jack fucking shit. And you need at least an alternative theory. You need at least a plan B. Or you need somebody to start questioning this conventional wisdom that resulted in the train wreck called the millennial generation. And that's the evidence I'm going to keep pointing to. Because you don't know me from Bob Kiss, although maybe if you watch my videos, you finally understand I'm America's older brother, the world's only professional asshole, and you should listen to me. But as of now, if you don't know who I am, I'm just going to keep pointing to the millennials and say, that's what they did. They did what their parents told them to do. You're doing your parents are telling you the exact same thing. And by gosh, by golly, here comes big-titted Molly. I bet you if you follow that exact same advice, you're going to end up exactly like that. So, what's the other advice you give to us, Cappy? Okay. First, you cannot be forced to go to college. This mandatory thing that you have to go to college, you must go to college, no. There's alternative voices in the internet and maybe even the media, but more the internet, that's starting to ring the bells finally loud enough. Hey, stop going to college. You don't have to go to college. College isn't worth it anymore. I think we can have a more honest conversation now about the merit or lack of merit of worthless degrees such as the liberal arts and humanities. And especially now that the price tag is starting to approach $100,000 for a state school. Oh, for a 4-year degree. Maybe you're starting to listen a little bit, but I'm sure right there, right on the back of it, are your parents telling you have to go to college, you have to go to college. No, you don't have to go to college. But if you are going to go to college, okay, please make sure it's for a worthwhile degree. All right? And I know your parents say, oh, you got to follow your heart and the money will follow. Just get your foot in the door. You just need to shut down. Okay, they don't know what they're talking about. They're living off of data their baby boomer parents told them from the fucking 60s. You need to look forward, and may I point once again to the generation that just got splattered by a train called the Millennials. See where their college degrees got them. So going forward, kind of being really important here, because now it's $100,000. I love baby boomers. Any degree is a good degree, you just gotta go to college. Yeah, but back in 1965, college was $3.27, and a Coke was a nickel. Okay, yeah, you could afford it. Now you're paying about as much as a house if you include sacrifice labor that you could have been working otherwise. So if you're going to go to college, I'll give you alternatives otherwise. Make sure it's a goddamn degree that pays. Nothing wrong. Dental school, engineering, accounting, CPA. Don't even bother getting a degree in accounting unless you're going to go get your CPA. IT, programming, computer science. And you know what? You don't have to go to college. You don't have to. No, you don't. And that should be a good thing, because I don't know about you, but I was pretty fucking sick and tired of college by the age of 18. I'll have 4 more years of this shit, and I get to pay for it now. Imagine if you didn't have to pay for it. There are trade schools. You could become a plumber, an electrician, and make way more money than any idiot with his MBA. You could join the military. If you don't know what you're doing, that's fine. I don't know what to do. Fine. Go in the military. Maybe just take a year off and work. You don't have to go to college. And you sure as fuck shouldn't be going to college if you don't know what you're going to major in. And if you haven't taken the time to study and figure out where does this degree lead in terms of employability, you haven't even done the simplest of things, looking up the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, average and median salary for that particular degree or that particular profession that the degree would lead to. Don't go to college. Right? It's just not worth it. Again, if you were a pot-smoking baby boomer in 1968, yeah, you could go and afford to go to college for as long as because it was like a buck. Hey, here's a buck of credit, sure, okay. Come on, baby, light my fire. Oh, I got a degree in poetry, man. Yeah, I'm gonna strum my guitar. Right? And now it's $100,000. Okay, pretty serious stuff. Military, another place to go. They'll pay for your education. You need a little roaming around in the desert. Okay, it's 4 years of your standard stint in the military. You'll learn some skills. You'll learn about yourself. You'll be more mature. You have a better idea of what you want to do when you get out of the military, what you should go study, and they'll pay for it. Oh my God, student loan crisis. I don't know. Maybe join the military. Have somebody else pay for it. Right? Don't be the 36-year-old living at home with $120,000 in student loan debt, slinging coffee, bitching about, oh, capitalism sucks, man, when you're the fucking idiot that signed on the dotted line to go $150,000 for a master's degree in poetry. Alright, so there's that. Nothing wrong with just working. If you have the money, I'd recommend maybe going and working in some oil rigs. Go travel and work. Travel the country. Read my book, Reconnaissance Man. I think I even got a copy of it here. Here we are. Great book for you kids to read. Great book. Read it before you graduate from high school. And you go out and you find yourself. while working at the same time and making money. Details are in the book. I'm not going to explain it here. Too damn long to take that time. So that by the time you're 19 or 20, oh yeah, okay, good, congratulations. Your peers are sophomores in college, earning worthless degrees, crippling their financial futures with hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debts, with no job at the end of it, right? You will at least have no debt. You might even have some money. You might have a positive net worth, but then you'll know where you want to live, who you want to become, where you want to be, what your profession will be, and the education required to go get it, which may not even require 4 degrees. Maybe just, a year of programming boot camp. Oh, your parents are going to hate it. Oh, your parents are going to hate this book. Their dad is not going to like me. It's off cut. Your dad would rather you date a black guy than read my book. I'll tell you that. Shame, shame, shame. That's how, I don't want to say revolutionary, but how threatening these ideas are. That you don't go to college. That for once you take a break from freaking school, figure out who the fuck you are first, go out. You can date black guys too, it's not right. You can go out, travel around, work different jobs, work different gigs, figure out who the fuck you are first and what you want to do and where you want to be, and then invest in your education. Because right now, I'll tell you this about the millennials. Nearly 80% of them, because only 10% actually major in something worthwhile. 80% of them are going to have to go back to college again and re-major in something completely different that has a job at the end of it. That's just the truth. And I don't know where here's another lie, and it's not that your parents tell you this is the environment your high school and everybody puts you in, where I get another bunch of emails. Perfect example, I'll give you a story. Aaron, I went straight to working as a mechanics assistant after high school. 3 years later, most of my friends are about to graduate from college. And I don't have a college degree. All I got is $50,000 in cash and 3 years working experience as a mechanic. I don't really have much to show for it. What? What? He has $50,000 cash. He has a skill that's in more demand than 80% of those degrees being, well, I'm an English teacher. Oh, all right, because we're in the United States. We really need people to teach English here, don't we? He has I don't have $50,000 cash, and he thinks he's the loser. His peers from high school are going to graduate with $150,000 in debt, a worthless degree, and they're not making, I think he was making like $25 an hour. They're not going to make $25 an hour. They're going to make their 12 or 14 if they're lucky. And they're not going to be doing anything important like fixing cars so people can transfer to their jobs or get to the hospital or not. These people are just going to be slinging coffee or putting avocado on toast. You're in no rush. There is not a race. Once high school is over with, you're done with those people. You'll never see those people. Trust me, you're not going to see those people again. And you should stop comparing yourself, especially using the metric of education as the measure of success. I know all in your life, all it's been is education. What's your grades? What's your GPA? How'd you do? What's your rank? What's your ACTs? What's your ACTs? All right, that shit ends after high school. Oh, you think it continues in college? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Nope. That grade, that education, the importance of education ends. And what you were competing on, which is all that you had to compete on, education, GPA, CPA, whatever, it's over. What matters now is, if you want another simplified metric, this is really simplified. There's more to life than this. You really want to know? So what do you make per hour? That's all that really matters. Another measure would be, what's your net worth? How much did you save up? A lot of people say, money isn't everything. Oh yeah? Well, why do millennials keep bitching about it and want the taxpayers to bail them out of their stupid ass student loans? Why they bitch about not being able to afford housing? Money is not the end-all be-all. But it is a simple measure as to your general success in life. Because with more money, now what? Oh, you can afford a house if you want to. Oh, with more money, you can afford healthier food. You can go have more fun. Again, you don't want to make your life all about money, though. That's not what I'm saying. But, and that's another one. The college experience. Oh, you might not get the college experience. Oh, no. Look, unless you die before turning 19, everybody gets the college experience. Everybody. It's just whether you are a complete retard and moron to pay $150,000 for it. You know why everybody gets the college experience? Because the college experience is being in your late teens, your young 20s, getting drunk, having a hangover, going to house parties, and trying to get laid. You don't need to be going to college for that. I guarantee you, you will be 21. You will go to a house party. You will drink. You will try to get laid. You'll get hungover. You'll make stupid mistakes. You might get a fight. You might get a DWI. There's your college experience. The question is whether you were smart enough to be that mechanic making $25 an hour, not going thousands of dollars into student loan debt to have the college experience, or you just did it for free. You just made money while you dared to have. I had a buddy of mine, Mike. He was a mechanic. He never went to college. He makes more than I do because he was a mechanic, and then he also went into steel and worked into CNC milling, so he has a very good skill in trade. And by gosh, he was at a lot of parties I was at, and by gosh, he drank the same booze, and by gosh, we even banged some of the same girls. He had the exact same college experience, on some levels a little bit more maybe than they should have been, than I did. I went to college, he didn't. He's richer than me, I'm not. You are going to have the college experience. If you think you're missing out on something at the college experience, all right, fine, I understand. It's not until you taste the ice cream do you know you're going to like it or not. Take one class. Just take one class, okay? You go commute down to the college where the children and the students is the number one thing. And you try and find a parking space. Then they're going to rape you for $10 for a parking space per day. Then you're going to walk in, and then you're going to listen to a professor, because they sat there and did that for 8 years, and tell me if they're any more intelligent or interesting or intriguing than your average run-of-the-mill K through 12 teacher. Oh, there is a difference. You're paying $250 a credit to listen to that idiot bloviate about bullshit. And you can't take a class that you like. No. You're going to take a class that they're going to force you to take. You take one of the prerequisite classes about Marxist, leftist, feminist poetry, pygmy sculpture, French 17th sculpture study. You take those classes. And then you write your bullshit paper. And then after that class, you say, is it worth me driving my time and my ass down here paying that amount of money to learn? And what did I learn? What did you learn? Well, you probably learned nothing. If anything, you learned Marxist leftist indoctrination. But then also ask yourself this question: could you have gotten that information for free going to the library, the convenience of the internet, downloading a podcast or a documentary on it? You don't even have to inconvenience yourself now going to the library. You just type it in on Google. Is your professor and the wisdom, the information, the education they gave you, is that replaceable with something on the internet? Are they replaceable with Google? Chances are there's a better instructor online who put a better presentation or seminar speech together than your professor did. Because most professors suck. Those who can't teach, they end up in academia. That's why most of your teachers suck. That's why you're falling asleep in class. You weren't a bad student. You just had horrifically inferior people as teachers. Because that's where most teachers go. Most inferior people become teachers because no one wants to hire them in the real world. It's like, hey, go teach. Yeah, we love the children. So, going forward, there's a lot of bad information your parents are giving you, but this is the biggest one because it has the biggest price tag attached to it, both financially and then also in terms of your time and your youth. All right? And you can see the consequences of having student loans and just being financially crippled like the millennials. And there's other stuff. Boys, I know a lot of you have been brought up by single moms. I know a lot of you divorced, and maybe your dad's there, but your dad never played with you. Your dad never gave you that eye. Girls don't like sensitive guys. They don't like your nicely groomed beard. They want you in shape. They want you at the gym. They want you masculine. Like, don't fall for this. Oh, just as long as you're sweet and nice. And girls want a nice guy. No, they don't. They want a guy who's ripped. If you got other questions, you can binge through my videos. You can read this book. This would be a great book for you boys to read. Naturopath Economics. Doesn't go through it all. Tune into the Red Man Group on YouTube. Ladies, God Almighty, men love nothing more than women. We love it when you're women. Please be feminine. The irony of feminism is they don't want to have anything to do with being feminine. You should celebrate being feminine. You should celebrate being a woman and not a woman trying to be a guy. That's another thing. They are going to pound that into you. Look, I am, and this is somewhat of the pot calling the kettle black. I do want women to major in STEM. I do want women to major in engineering. I want women in accounting. I want women to be doctors. I do want you to close the wage gap. Yet at the same time, do not fall for this lie that you are men. You're not. You're women. God Almighty, celebrate it. Be proud of that. And women, shock, most of you want to have kids and get married. Well, if that's the case, maybe you ought to put that first. Because, again, talk to the millennials. Heck, talk to the Gen X women. Talk to the women my age who are now looking at freezing their eggs because they never spent the time trying to be a good wife or finding a good husband to have a family. They put their career and education first, and then tickety-tock, menopause hit. Now they can't have kids. And don't lie. I know your parents, your teachers are going to lie to you, saying, you don't need a man, fish, bicycle, your career and education is very important. Yeah, but you see, the way biology works is if you really want to have kids, if you want to answer yourself fully and look into your heart, say, do I want to have kids? Yes, you do. Well, now is the time to start thinking about it. You may not mentally be there yet, and I'm not saying 18-year-olds should necessarily be going out and breeding just yet, nor am I saying don't go to college now. But if you want to have kids, don't wait till you're 37, finally paying off your master's degree. Now it's time to get settled down. Men want beautiful young women. That's what we want. Your parents are going to lie to you, saying men should want. Genetics and reality don't work that way. We don't live in shoulda land. We live in the real world here. Men want young, good-looking, in-shape women who are nice and kind and sweet and supporting. We want feminine women. We don't want women who are trying to be men. I can do whatever I want. Oh, God, yes, yeah. We've had that for the past 40, 50 years. Oh, yes, the Sheryl Sandbergs of the world. Like, oh, giggity, do I get turned on by that. But if you want to be a wife and a mother, then you have a tickety-tock time to get that done now. And guess what? Work will always be there. They will still have colleges and universities. It's not like if you don't major in engineering today, you won't be able to do that later after the kids are shipped off to school or do a little part-time of school or work or stuff, something like that. Take some online classes while you're raising little Jimmy. If you want to be a wife and a mother, there is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing shameful about it. Being a mom and a wife is hard work. Trust me, I'm the house husband in the family. I do most of the, well, I know it doesn't look it this way right now, but I do most of the household chores around it because it just makes sense. It is real work. But this way you can have both. You can have both the husband and the kids, and then you can also have a career. Your parents, and especially your teachers and professors, are going to lie to you. They're going to villainize men. They're going to criminalize men. They're going to point out how bad men are, how sexist we are, how we're oppressive and in the system and the patriarchy, and you need an education and a career first. That would be great if your eggs were like men's sperm and it didn't go away at about 45, right? But you're not men. No matter what they're going to tell you, I'm sorry, you're not men. There are biological differences, and one of the hard timelines is menopause for you. If you don't know what menopause is, which is kind of sad for me to point out, because I really do wonder if women know what menopause is, because there's now women my age that I didn't have any time to have kids. I was like, didn't you know? Wasn't this in like sex ed, like in the 5th grade? Were you not paying attention? You can have kids into your 60s. I know this one article. Yes, I'm sure you do. This one article of this girl in Brazil who, as a grandmother, had her own child at the age of 63. That's great. That's not you. That's 1 out of 3.5 billion women, right? So women want a good-looking, strong, I mean, you must hit the gym, financially successful man. That means you got to go major in engineering and none of this acoustic guitar or poetry majoring bullshit. Ladies, men want a feminine woman. See how the opposites attract? That means, and sadly, you're going to have to be thin or thinnish. You're not dyeing your hair purple or shaving it or piercing noses or piercing eyebrows. You go and major in good things. Certainly go ahead, engineering and all that. Rah. But then you also have to kind of be nice. Please, for the love of God, don't get all uppity and like, I'm a feminist. Because guys can just go jerk off the porn. It'll be a lot easier. So if you want to, You want to attract a good-looking guy, a guy who's tall, makes a lot of money. You better be a very nice, supporting wife. You better be... beauty is one thing. That you can kind of get. Anybody can be beautiful. As long as you stay in shape, you keep yourself in shape. There are very few genuinely ugly people. But ladies, if you want to snag yourself a good guy, you got to be supporting. You gotta be nice. And there are no nice... There's so few. There's so few. But your parents are going to tell you, you got to look at me, you got to do that. You're going to get to college. Nose man, you got that. The daytime talk shows that you want, like The View and all that, do the opposite of what they say. If you don't believe me, you're fine. Just experiment. See what happens doing the opposite of what they say. See what happens. There's a lot more, guys. There's a lot more. And we could go down, oh, do you have ADHD? Do you have this? Do you have this? But the two biggest lies being told to you kids right now, where a lot of you are coming like, I don't want to go to college. I don't want to do this, is college and the sexes. It really is those two things. There's many other more. There's a lot other stuff that we don't have time to go through. But using these two as examples, and then pointing out to the miserable failure that is known as the millennials, I'm asking you not to disrespect your folks, not to give your teachers the bird, although I wish I did that more back in the day. Take their advice, not with a grain, but with a pound of salt. They're well-intended, but their data is outdated. And if you didn't, again, I'll point to the millennials again, if you follow it, that's going to be the consequences and the results. All right? I'm going to be coming out with a book called How Not to Become a Millennial, the Salvation Guide for Generation Z. It will be coming out hopefully this summer. But for now and in the meantime, you really got to second guess what your parents are telling you. You really have to question their advice and wisdom. And another thing I point out to, unfortunately, we have a lot of poor kids come from dysfunctional families, broken homes, and Bob wants to go down a different path. He wants to go to college. He wants to join the military. And the mom is pissed off because he's leaving the family. And this has happened more than once. She won't get more Section 8 housing money. And the family will disown him. And he's like, well, they're saying that if I leave it, this or that. And I'm like, is your family successful? That's one thing you should ask. Are your folks successful? Are your parents happily married? Do you guys live in an okay house? Do they have an adequately funded retirement plan, or are they just constantly borrowing money? You may not know what borrowing or leasing. Ask your parents, hey, do we have a car loan payment? If they say yes, that's not cutting it, man. That is not cutting it. Look at your parents. Look at your teachers. Look at your guidance counselors. Look at your professors. And don't just look at them on the outside. Find out what's going on in the inside. How much do they make? How much debt do they have? Are they financially successful? Do you want to become them? Because if you look at them and they're not successful and you don't want to become them, why on God's green earth would you listen to what they're saying? Why should we listen to you? I don't know. I'm practically retired at 44. Go look at my Instagram account and see all the adventures that I do and all that other. This is my job. Hey, look what's going on. All right? But more for your sake. All right? Again, yes, listen to them. Okay, yes, Mom. Yeah. But come up with a solid plan B. At least go and evaluate and research the feasibility of what they want you to do. You follow your heart, money will follow. I'm going to go major in theater. Start looking. Before you drop $100,000 on that theater degree, look and see what starting salaries are for theater majors, and if you just can't go and be a participant in the local community theater for free. Right? So do your research. Second guess your parents. Again, don't disrespect your parents. Second guess them. See if they actually are right. Use the internet. We didn't have the internet, Mike. Use the internet. See if they're right. See if what they're saying jives with what's going on in the real world. And if it doesn't, then maybe you better come up with a better plan. Because old Cappy will be here at assholeconsulting.com for as long as I'm alive. Well, you can always come here and ask a question. Unfortunately, I bill out at $100 an hour. And if you just do a little bit of research now, you just wisely second guess your parents. You empirically go and prove them right or wrong, and you make some decisions about your future in terms of money, college, chasing after girls, boys. You don't go to nightclubs. You don't drink. Right? You don't meet girls at nightclubs. You go to the gym and you work out. That's how you meet the girls. you're going to have way more success and way less failure compared to the millennials than had you followed your parents' advice. Anyway, that's it. I wish you kids the best. You're going to need it. Look for that book when it comes out. In the meantime, I don't know. This book is a pretty good book. It's thick. But that one's a pretty good book. For both men's and women's. I know it says bachelor economics, but it's not like IRA contribution rules are different for men and women. The laws of economics and finance apply universally for men and women. That's about it. All right, we'll see you kids later. Check out the links below. Toodles.